إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد, as you can see, I'm not Abdurrahman Bangura, so he's sending his apologies. He had an emergency. He was supposed to be the Khatib here today, but for some reasons he couldn't make it, so he's apologizing for that. So it's just a 1 minute thing. I had to come up with something to come and address you, brothers and sisters. My apologies in advance if I'm not with it, not well prepared. Moving on, my brothers and sisters, as we all know, the times we are living in, they are the times where the Prophet ﷺ said, in addressing the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, saying, it will come during the end of times. One of the signs of the end of times is that ilm, knowledge, will be lifted. How is that going to happen? By the death of scholars. Those who are knowledgeable will die, and those who are ignorant will take charge of the affairs of the Muslims. As we can see today, whether we realize it or not, a lot of problems which we are facing today as an ummah is because of those who are ignorant taking charge of the affairs of the Muslims. Whether it's to do with divisions, wars we are witnessing and experiencing all over the Muslim world, all of this is to do with the ignorant taking charge of the affairs of the Muslims. And my brothers and sisters, this is a very serious issue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in addressing this issue, He listed sins in order, starting with the minor ones to the major ones. And the last two sins, the last of them, is talking about Allah without knowledge. This is in Surah A'raf, ayah number 33. You can go and check it yourselves. He says, وَأَن تَقُولَ عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. And to say, after talking about shirk, then he comes to this issue, says, and talking about Allah without knowledge, without knowing what you are saying with regard to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because, my brothers and sisters, all of the sins we can think of, whether it's shirk, bid'ah, anything else, it all stems from people talking about Allah or Islam in general without having knowledge or having little knowledge. So, for example, we look at the people of Noah, where shirk started. Shaitan went to them and he suggested to them that the idols which were there, they were supposed to be worshipped. And the people, out of their ignorance, actually they agreed with him. Not only that, Shaitan did the same with our father and our mother, Adam and Hawa. He went to them, he said, your sincere advice, listen to me. Whatever I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. Eat from that tree or eat that fruit, you will live forever. And they agreed with him. So we can see the issue, my brothers and sisters, which is to do with talking about Allah or Islam in general without having knowledge or with little knowledge, it can be of serious consequences. As we witness today, all of us, the people of Bid'ah, they say they follow Quran and Sunnah. And the people of Sunnah, they say they follow Quran and Sunnah. In fact, any Muslim you ask, they will all tell you, I follow Quran and Sunnah. But there is a distinction here. The people of Bid'ah, they follow Quran and Sunnah according to their own whims and desires. We should follow Quran and Sunnah as the people of Sunnah according to the understanding of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. And they will bring ayahs and hadith, the people of Bid'ah, to say to the people of Sunnah, since it's an obligation for you as believers, you should revere Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And according to them, to show love for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is celebrating the day he was born. This is showing love. So they'll come up with evidence. For example, they'll say in Surah Yunus, ayah number 58, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and in the bounty of Allah and in His mercy, let them rejoice, that is better for them than that which they are amassing. So the question now comes, before I say what I want to say, first we have to realize, my brothers and sisters, in Sharia, there are principles. It's not anything, or anyone can come and say this is what it means and this is what it means. The ulama, they tell us there are three conditions which any evidence can be taken as a proof for whatever we want to prove. Number one, it has to be authentic. Number two, it has to prove the point. Number three, it must not be contradicted with anything else. So we are looking at this ayah. Is this ayah revealed with regard to what you are telling us? So the people of Sunnah will reply and say, yes, we are with you in what you are saying. We love the Prophet ﷺ more than we love ourselves. But is the way you have understood that ayah the way Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali understood that ayah? If that's not the case, then there is no way we can agree with you in this regard. As another example, my brothers and sisters, is that of the Mu'tazila. Mu'tazila, they are those people who say the Quran is not the ways of Allah, is the creation of Allah. And when they ask why, they said they will bring you an ayah from the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allahu khaliqu kulla shay'in wa huwa ala kulli shay'in wakil. Allah created everything and He is the agent of all things which depend on Him. So you say Allah has created everything and Quran is the thing, then the Quran must be the creation of Allah. Again, we go to the same point. Is this what the Sahaba radiallahu anhum understood with regard to this ayah? And this is why Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah, he gave them a challenge of which he was imprisoned and tortured. He said, if what you are saying is true, then bring your dalil to prove your point. We want to see an ayah, a hadith, and the statement from the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, which confirms what you have just said. Obviously, it's not something which they could bring forward. Khawarij is another example, my brothers and sisters. For example, as we know, ISIS is a part of them. There's an ayah in Surah At-Tawbah, ayah number 123, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh, you believe, find those who are disbelievers, who are close to you, and let them find in you harshness. So according to them, here, anyone who is a disbeliever deserves to be fought. So even if your mother or your father is not a Muslim, you can actually get rid of them. So you find families, they are broken apart, children killing parents, their aunties, their uncles. You know about this. There are many, many stories to do with this. And all of this is to do with their understanding of this ayah, which they didn't take it back to the understanding of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. There's another hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he says, they moved the Jews and the Christians from Arabian Peninsula. For them, they understood this to mean, you just get rid of them by killing them. Kill all of them. And they are doing it as we are talking. But the question is, did Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman or Ali understood this ayah, this hadith, the way they have understood it? Because during the time of Abu Bakr, Jews and Christians, they were there. During the time of Umar, Jews and Christians, they were there. You go in Khaybar, and some of them they were even troublemakers. But they existed. In fact, you find the time Jews and Christians found to be in prosperity is the time when Islam was in charge of the world. No any other time. So where did we get this understanding? In fact, someone who assassinated Umar was a kafir. Where was he allowed to live with them if the hadith say he was a Majus? Imagine. If the hadith said to get rid of them, why did he leave him there? So my brothers and sisters, it's of paramount importance. We as believers, we make sure that we follow our Islam according to the way the Sahaba radiallahu anhum understood it. Otherwise, the dangers are severe, as we have listed some of them. Therefore, my brothers and sisters, adhering to the manhaj salaf is of paramount importance. I know for some people, when they hear salaf, they get alarmed. Salaf is just a word which means the righteous, salaf is salih, righteous predecessors. We are referring to the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. Anyone who follows Islam according to the way they did, you can call yourself a salaf if you want to. It doesn't mean that you are some kind of an extreme, and it's not even a sect. It's just a methodology of adhering to Islam as we should. I do know there are some groups of people with the extreme ideology who calls themselves Salafis. An example, Khawarij, they also call themselves Salafi. However, the point to be made here is you claim to be a Salafi. Let's see what you are doing. Is it in accordance to what the Sahaba radiallahu anhum understood Islam? أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله المصطفى. أما بعد. As we were saying, my brothers and sisters, we have to adhere to manhaj salaf, and that is the understanding of our Islam. It has to be in accordance to the understanding of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Otherwise, the dangers are we can become either innovators, the people of bid'ah, mubtadin, or we can become extremists, just like Khawarij or as ISIS, you see them. This is why, my brothers and sisters, we need to understand the importance of knowledge and its effects on people. We need to take time out to learn, my brothers and sisters. Our deen I'm talking about here. Acquiring knowledge is not something which will happen just by sitting there and doing nothing. The people we know as major scholars, they sacrifice their money, their time. For those of you who went to university in particular, you know this, especially in your final year. Sleepless nights. You have to sacrifice to acquire that which is needed, my brothers and sisters, in terms of understanding our Islam. Sheikh Ubaid, rahimahullah, said, and Islam is composed of these two, correctness in belief and soundness in manhaj, and its uprightness. They don't separate. The two, you cannot separate them. They have to be together. Sheikh Al-Fawzan said the reasons for this unity are many, and from among causes, the main causes of it, firstly, is opposing the manhaj of the Salafi. Salih. This is one of the major reasons why we have the ikhtilaf in the ummah. Because this one says this is what it is, you ask, how do you say this? They go, no refutation of what you are saying, rather than following their whims and desires. Whatever you say, you have to take it back to the Sahaba. This is how they understood it. Otherwise, is what we see, my brothers and sisters. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, to prove that following the manhaj salaf is a must. But no, by your Lord, they can never have faith until they make you Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam a judge in all of their disputes between them, and find in themselves no resistance against your decisions, and accept them with full submission. Whatever the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, as believers, he said, this is what he said, authentic. We just have to say, Sami'na wa atwa. We can never have our own opinion to say this is what it's supposed to be. So my brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ said, in counseling the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, this is the hadith from Ibn Sa'id radiallahu anhu. He said, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever lives long from amongst you will see a great amount of difference. So stick to my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided caliphs. Hold on to it and bite onto it with your molar teeth. And be aware of newly invented matters in the religion, for every newly invented matter in the religion is innovation, and every innovation is misguidance, and misguidance is in the hellfire. Here the Prophet ﷺ, he could have said, just follow the Quran and Sunnah. But he said, you have to stick to his Sunnah and the Sunnah of the four rightly guided Khulafa Rashidin. This is Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, and the other Sahaba too. Their way, it should be our way, my brothers and sisters. It's not something which we have a choice, it's a must. Otherwise, we'll be misguided. Therefore, understanding Islam according to Quran and Sunnah, as understood by the Sahaba, is the correct way, and as demonstrated above. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said, the Sahaba possessed three qualities which no any other human beings after them will possess. This is how Ibn Mas'ud, and we know when they talk of the matters of the ghaib, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum is something which they have heard from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even though they didn't refer to it. So he said, number one, they were the witness to the revelation of the Quran. Many of the ayats were revealed because of something the Sahabi did. So obviously it's common sense, their understanding is going to be more than anyone else, and clear than anyone else, pure than anyone else. Number two, he said, the knowledge of Arabic language, no one else can match theirs. They spoke the language of the Quran then. They spoke the language of the Quran. So whatever Allah said, they understood it clearly. How can someone else say they understand Quran today better than they did? It just doesn't make sense. That goes against logic. And number three, they had pure hearts. They had pure hearts. These people, they sacrificed themselves for the sake of Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So my brothers and sisters, it's obviously anyone who possesses these three qualities will have the best understanding of the Quran, and as a result, the best understanding of the Sunnah and Islam in general. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq to understand Islam according to the way of the Sahaba. Aqim as-salam.